Now, it is the mega drought of the millennium. As temperatures rise, bodies of water, including the Colorado River, are drying up. Well, now farmers are racing to find solutions. But what are government officials doing to support crop production and provide water scarcity solutions? Well, joining us now is Kate Greenberg, Colorado Department of Agriculture Commissioner. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, Kate. So in terms of the impacts that you're already seeing in this mega drought, these sort of multi-decade droughts that have now become the norm.
Absolutely. Well, we've been seeing this here in Colorado for at least the last 20 years. We've known we've been in a drought. We've been dealing with it here in Colorado in our agricultural industry. You know, our farmers and ranchers are used to dealing with curveballs coming their way, but we're in a new era. Our farmers and ranchers here are looking at new ways of production, looking at conservation in a new way, new cropping types, soil health, alternate revenue streams that might diversify their revenue to allow them to make a living in agriculture, but using less water. So we're really thinking about diversity, resilience, perseverance to make sure that we can keep producing food here in Colorado, knowing we're under a future of less water.
It's stunning to see Lake Powell and Lake Mead at 25% of capacity. We're talking about the Colorado River that feeds 40 million people in 7 states. If you're able to simplify it, what's the biggest reason we got here?
Well, of course, when it comes to our climate, our hydrology, we've seen natural fluctuations over the past century since especially the Colorado River Compact in particular was created back in 1922. But we're in a new era now with climate change accelerating some of these changes. We are focused on finding solutions that we can do here in Colorado agriculture to be proactive. We know we're expecting to see not just drier times and hotter times, but more variability, less certainty. So how do we build resilience in a future that has less certainty than we've had in the past? That means we need to be more nimble. We need to make investments in our agricultural communities to be more resilient, make sure we're investing in the health of our soil, the health of our communities, of our local and regional economies, connecting people to the land, and also looking at the land as a critical tool to building climate and drought resilience. We think about that a lot with our farmers and ranchers. They are essential, and the work they do is essential to helping us as a greater society build resilience and mitigate some of the impacts we're seeing from drought and climate change.
And Kate, as you're saying, sort of looking down the road, seeing what's ahead, perhaps a life with less water here. So in terms of investments in short-term solutions versus the longer-term solutions, what are primarily the best places to invest right now?
Well, right now, I've mentioned some of them. We're looking at a diversity of investments. We focus on the very near term investments in drought relief for producers this year. That might look in investments in infrastructure and things that farmers and ranchers can do in the season that we're in. But of course, we're also looking at out years. I mentioned soil health a number of times. This is one of our best strategies at the farm or ranch level to actually capture moisture in the soil, reduce dependence on external inputs as well as irrigation, help producers make it through the season with less water. And it's a tool that's at their disposal. It's the farmers or ranchers that are leading this work here in Colorado. We're also looking, like I mentioned, at diversifying revenue streams. So renewable energy generation on farms and ranches. We're even looking at agrivoltaics. How do we stack agricultural production with renewable energy production? And then, of course, we're also looking to recruit companies here in Colorado who have climate targets that want to work with our producers. We have producers doing incredible things around soil health, advancing new technologies, precision agriculture, using less water to grow just as much food as we have been. We need those market partners as well as that government support to get us through these times and build that resilience and that profitability for our ag producers.
Kate, is the water shortage out west irreversible, and is the underground water shortage even worse?
Well, I think you mentioned 2 very good points. We're dealing with both the surface water and the groundwater issues out here in many of our basins. But our groundwater dependent basins, for example, have been dealing with this for a long time. They're actually, they have a lot of tools in the toolbox that the rest of us can learn from. And so we are following the lead of our local leaders here across our basins within the state of Colorado. with our partners across the Colorado River Basin and other drainages as well. So while we're experiencing this tightening in both the surface and the groundwater, we're also seeing development of new technologies, new forms of collaboration, new ways of thinking about how we support our local economies in a drier future. So much of that leadership is coming from the local level. Here at the state, we're helping those local communities absorb some of the risk of those changes, get resources where they're needed, and help with the transition to a vibrant economy of the future that is less dependent on water, but still dependent on the agricultural communities and production that we rely on. You know, agriculture in Colorado is among the top economic drivers in our state. It employs almost 200,000 people here in the state. And of course, it produces the food we eat. So whatever we're looking to in the future, it has to include agriculture because agriculture is food.
My home state. Kate Greenberg, Colorado Department of Agriculture Commissioner. Great to have you on the program. Thanks so much. An important story there.